Okay, so we are going to start off with today's session because Kabiru is going to go to class in a few minutes time. And we're also going to engage very closely on various issues concerning Canada. Canada is our country of study. Issues concerning Canada. Canada is our country of study, and I really appreciate you guys for joining from from all our different platforms. As I've mentioned, the electricity is out, so we are trying to use different ways to have this live session on. So if by any chance I disappear or anything happens, we apologize in advance. Normally when the electricity go off, especially right now I'm in Africa, things happen and we can't blame ourselves, we can't blame anyone. So we are now offline. No Wi-Fi, but we're using data, and sometimes data hotspot can disappear. But with that in mind, we are not stopping the session. We are continuing with the session. The session is live, and I'm glad to see Kabiru, who's joined us. He's just waking up on fasting, but he decided to be with us today because this means so much to him. So Kabiru, take a minute and introduce yourself and start us off on the session.
Yeah, my name is Kabiru. I've not changed my name, so absent part of presentation. The baby is going to be Canada with some engagement, and I know we have quite a lot of. But I will employ us to let us just restrict ourselves and streamline our questions so that we can make it very short. For those that were like thesis-based masters, but you can infer from the content because you can infer whether it's a thesis-based or thesis-based are actually research PhD or you want to do it for the academic purposes. Then you have research. Thesis-based is research. Then you have professional masters. Then you have other hybrid. Meanwhile, in Canada, for most schools, they are typically specified whether it's a thesis-based or non-thesis-based or everything. And that is the first thing that you barely see in the US system. US will not basically tell you whether it's a thesis-based or something, but you can actually read and see if it's a thesis-based, you want to use it. But for Canada, it will be clearly stated whether it's a thesis-based or non-thesis-based. The next thing is in US, you are not asked to get a supervisor for masters. You are not usually required. If you choose to contact a supervisor, it's fine. It shows, but it might not really confer any advantage on you. But for Canada and for some schools, you just have to get a supervisor. There are no two ways about it. In fact, if you have a perfect CGPA, you won't get admission. Once you don't have a supervisor, you don't. The next one is that I want to talk about is the issue of, okay, when you have a supervisor, it doesn't mean you just send an email to the supervisor. The supervisor must confirm in writing that he or she is willing to supervise your project. What that entails is you have to have a research proposal. For US, you don't need this. You don't need a research proposal except in exceptional cases probably. But for master, typically nobody will ask you for a research proposal. But for Canada, because you need a supervisor, it means you have to look at what is the person is doing in terms of research, and you have to tell them, oh, I want to do something similar. I can't just tell you that, oh, I'm coming to your department to do what. So even when they will not tell you that you need a proposal, logically you need a proposal to connect with whoever you want to connect with. Oh, but didn't ask me for a proposal, but somebody says you should get a supervisor. So if I must get a supervisor, how do I connect with the supervisor? It is through my proposal. Either in broad areas or whatever, I will have to tell the person, this is the kind of research I want to do. And that's the call. For some few schools, I've forgotten the name of, and as I'm getting along, I will let you know. You can't even contact just any professor. I think I will check where I wrote the name of the university. The professor will have told you that if you don't have this requirement, don't contact me. Somebody will say, okay, I'm a game theory professor. If you have background in econometrics, you have background in this, then send me an email through this. So you just click on the page. It means if you don't tick all the boxes, you are not meant to contact the professor. Some schools have it like, I want to give you this specific example that's what it's my mind now. So once I remember, I'll tell you the name of the school. So you have to meet the requirement the professor would have set on the page before you can contact the professor. So it's not about, I have this. There's another caveat with Canada that we might not know on the surface. They have a limit as to the number of international students they have to pick. They have a limit. And I think from what I heard from the professor, I can tell you the name of the professor, Epstein. It's a University of Queen's University. It's Epstein. The man told me it has to be 3 per department. Because of funding and if you have been checking some universities before applying, I've seen it with Alberta and some other universities. They would I think Alberta, is it Calgary or something? They will have to tell you that you need to contact them before applying. What it means is because they have a limit as to the number of international students they want to pay and they can fund, you need to get across to them. So, unlike US, I don't think there's a policy nationwide that will tell you that you have to only pick 3 per department. But for Canada, they have it. They have that policy that you can't pick more than this number of students. Now, this is an insider information for PhD applicants. If you have tried Canada, somebody must have told you that you can't pick more than this number of international students. So that buttresses the fact that you need to get a supervisor. So it is not enough to get a supervisor. It means you are competing with other people that you only have a limit of 3. What that now tells you that your application must be exceptionally good. It is not about, I saw somebody posted that he has first class undergrad, the guy is from Ghana, he has distinction. It has to be exceptionally good. And to make it exceptionally good, there are two sides to it. The one is your SOP, the other one is your communication with the supervisor. And the two of them are actually linked together. How do you connect with the supervisor? I'll give you a practical experience. If you write an SOP that can be used for 2 schools without changing anything, you won't make any headway in Canada. Nobody will listen to you. Because they have this rule of thumb that if you send me an email and I don't see that personal touch in your email, it means you will have sent the same email to somebody else. You are just trying to like guess what, okay, this will be a response. Somebody will feel like if you can send it to me, you can send it to somebody else. It has to be specific to that person in such a way that when the person reads his SOP, the person sees that you have read my background, you know what I'm doing. It's not that, oh, I'm in the field of accounting. What specific area of accounting is my research on? I'm in economics. What specific area? What makes you think that you can work with me? I mentioned a professor the other time. How did I? But there was a time he worked in Zimbabwe and South Africa, and he published a particular article in South Africa. So I referenced that article, and that's how that particular research connects with what I wanted to do. I just say, oh, Professor, and by the way, don't lie. If you have not read if you have not read the research, don't lie about it. This is a good example of why you should not lie. So actually, the research was not available. It's not an open source research. You have to pay to get it. But I saw somewhere where somebody wrote like an extract of the research. So I referenced that extract. He now gave me a complimentary copy. Here is a complimentary copy. If I had lied that, oh, I read the research, he would just say, oh, how did you get it? Because you have to pay a subscription of like $30 to like have access to the research, which a typical student will not pay. I won't pay. Why should I pay to go and read your research when I just want to apply? But I referenced that, oh, I saw the topic and I saw somewhere somebody quoted yours, and this is my interest. And the guy said, oh, it's fine. You can't have access to it, but get a complimentary copy through this link, which he sent to me. And I appreciated it. So in your SOP, or sorry, in your email, when you are requesting for supervision, let it be tailored to that particular professor. Let it be tailored to that particular professor. And another advice I always give, this one is my personal advice. It's not just, you might have a contrary opinion, like 4 or 3 professors that you are interested in. Don't send it to one of them, just one. When you get response from that particular one, you can move to the next one. And the best way I usually do, which is my personal, like I said, is the personal. When I contacted that professor, I think that one is the guy from Kenya. He said, speak to this person, and the person was like, "Oh, I can't take on additional student." I went back to the professor. That, do you know any other person? So he gave me 4 additional names. That is why when they know the area you want to do research, they know their colleagues. So somebody can tell that, oh, talk to this person, is interested in. So when you want to send an email, don't send to like 4 people in the same department at the same time. You won't get a positive response. That implies that you need more time. So if you want to apply in September this year, you should start talking to them right now, so that you have enough time to like, and you don't send it today and expect responses tomorrow. In most cases, personally, I do get it within 2 days. Personally, I do get it within 2 days. But that does not mean you will always get it that way. There might be times that you have to wait for like 3 or 2 weeks before you get. So you just send a gentle reminder. You don't be rude. Oh, I've sent. If no one replied me, they have so many other things. Another rule of thumb is understand their time zone. Time zone is when it is their morning, when you normally resume. Always send your reminder around that time so that your email will always be on top. So if you understand that they are in this time zone, calculate the time zone to your own zone. It might be midnight in your own. So send it around that time so that your email will always be on top. And like I said, personalize the email to that professor. Be clear as to what you want. From your subject of the email, be clear as to what you want. Avoid general terms. I want to do research in accounting. Which area of accounting do you want to do research? Is it assurance? Is it fraud? Is it this? So if you say, oh, I want to do research in accounting, a typical probability that you have not checked my background, probably you are just guessworking. And the last one, which is also related to your SOP and research, is do not plagiarize. Canada punishes plagiarism, even if you are not told. Even if you are not told. They have like a particular website, they call it blacklist. So what it means is, if you plagiarize, the school is under obligation to put your name on that blacklist. The school can choose not to put your name. It's optional, but they are under obligation to put your name, which they are not meant to communicate to you. So if you plagiarize your research, your research proposal, copy from somewhere, you dump it, and they discover through saying that, oh, this is plagiarized, they are under obligation to report you, so that other schools are not meant to pick you. You might not be told, but that is the reality, and that is the information I got. I think I have the material from Regina University. You're talking University of Regina. So there's a site, they call it Blacklist, or is it Blacklist or Black Arrow? There's a very funny name they call the website. They are meant to put your name on that list. That, oh, this person has plagiarized. So that if you there's a difference between plagiarism and shoddy work. Shoddy work is like, oh, you actually did, but you didn't reference well. So they might not punish you, they might not just give you admission. But if it is established that you actually plagiarized your research proposal, they are duty man to report you by putting your name on that side. So that you just know, University of Regina didn't pick me, I applied to Alberta, I applied to Montreal, but I'm not getting admitted, but I have fantastic background, I have this, I have that. They might not pick you. I think they are going to be banned either 5 years or there, but I can't remember the exact number of years. You are meant to be blacklisted by the universities.
Okay, nice, Kabiru.
So, your email that
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to welcome those who are joining us now, of those who joined us when you started. We were experiencing and still experiencing some technical issues with the internet connectivity because we lost power. So if anything happens along the way, maybe any of the platform you're watching us from goes blank, means that the data can't work with that platform. So we apologize in advance. I can just share some few of the things that he's mentioned and emphasize that for you when you want to apply to study in Canada, you have to be very, very careful, because not all those countries are the same in terms of the application and admission process. He's given us the difference between applying in the US and applying in Canada, and some of the things include when you're applying to Canada, they'll mention in the university whether it is thesis based or non-thesis based, especially for master's level. They'll specify in the university, and that's different with the US. You have to read deeper into masters and identify whether it is thesis based or it's non-thesis based. That's one difference. The other difference that is mentioned is you're not in the US you're not required to get a supervisor before you apply, but in Canada you must reach out to supervisor, and he has emphasized that you start reaching out to the supervisor right now if you want to apply for this year fall, that is September going forward. So you have to reach out to the professors, you have to reach out to your supervisor, possible supervisor now. And it's also emphasized that you don't have to reach out to many of them, just reach out to one. And another thing that is shared, so that is the second one. In the US, you're not required. Most universities, especially for master's level, they do not require you to reach out to supervisors. So that's a big difference. In Canada, it's a must. So don't forget that. Don't say, "Oh, I've applied in Canada and they're not accepting me." Probably because you've not reached out to the advisor, so you don't have an advisor. And the other one that is mentioned is that you need to have a research proposal, because how will you reach out to your supervisor or your advisor? And you have to share with your advisor the topic and research proposal, what you intend to study. And with that, read very well the profile of the advisor stroke the supervisor, read the profile, their course specialization, and just don't go in and just say, okay, this one looks like he knows how to write English better than the other one. Or you have to be very, very clear what you're going to study and how you're going to benefit from this particular professor. Another thing that he has mentioned, that in Canada, most universities have limited number of international students that they can accept because of it could be because of limited funding for international students. Unlike in the US, that there's no that open caveat about it. So for you to apply to as an international student, you need to reach out to the admission office in good time and engage with them. Let them know that you're interested to apply. And when you engage with them, they let you know, and they can also share with you the various scholarships they have and various opportunities, and just give you a way forward. Another thing is mentioned is that you need to have a very strong statement of purpose. Strong statement of purpose will give you an opportunity to get admitted, and it will also share deeper who you are, why you want to study in that university, and it will also give you an opportunity to get admission. So you need to be very specific. He has emphasized that in your research proposal, you don't need to you should not plagiarize, because if you plagiarize, you'll be blacklisted in all Canada universities. So just be careful on that, and reach out to your professors in good time. So Kabiru, you've really enlightened us in this Canada journey. Please go ahead.
So, like I said, consider whether you want to write GRE with the program director that have vision for 5 years. You didn't pick a single soul from Europe. Doesn't mean nobody applied from Europe. You only pick people with background in the US. Oh, the man said no, it wasn't like that. So, and at the end of the day, when they did the admission, it was exactly what I said. They picked people from US. So if I want to apply to that type of school, I have to tell myself that, well, I might get, I might not get. There will always be the first time, of course. Somebody will always come first. But will I be the first person, or will you be somebody else? So when you have a school that has a particular background, that they have people that they normally pick. In fact, for like 10 years that I've done research on that school, the only exception was an Iranian guy. They picked from from Iran. So they can pick people from Nigeria for their master, but for their PhD, they only pick people with background in the US. And they always pick those top schools higher than them. They don't pick below. Well, when I had meeting, I had to brought out those facts that you always pick this particular type of people. So why is it like that? So in Canada or anywhere you want to do admission, always check the background of where they are picking their candidates from. So that they pick from Africa and they have a gap from Africa. you stand a good chance. It may be that they like a particular background. It's the same thing as there's a school in UK, SOAS. They pick people from Pakistan, mostly Pakistan and Bangladesh. So there are schools that probably because they have established a particular experience, they will pick people from that background.
Yeah.
So always watch out for that when you check admission statistics. It is always good to read admission statistics, what they pick, how they pick, and the number of people they pick.
Okay, so we are running out of time. Thank you, Kabiru. We are running out of time and we have questions. One of the questions is, do Canadian university provide scholarship as in the same as the US universities?
No, it's not the same. They don't. I don't know they don't.
What's the difference?
They do provide, but it's not like I told you. There's a limit by Canadian law to what they can do.
Okay.
US does not have that law. Canada has that law because most of their funding, they are being funded by the government. So it's like government is funding you. So there's a limit. I'm from, like I told you the name of the professor. It's Z3 per department.
Okay. So again, Kabiru has mentioned that if you're applying to Canada, it's important that you do GRE, even if it's mentioned as optional, because it will give you an upper hand. Yeah. And then Canada has less universities, obviously, compared to the US. So the competition is very stiff. And it's just advisable that you apply to more than one university, but you need to be very specific in what you want to study. You need to communicate in good time with your professors, start now, and then make sure that your application is very, very exceptional. Kabiru, what's the best time to start your application?
Now.
I thought so.
Typically, you should. You know, the thing I realize is, in any country, not just Canada, you need to invest time. But Canada, Australia, those two countries require extra time because you have to communicate. You can start communication with Alberta, Ontario, the same time, but within the same university, it is always good to like do it one professor at a time. They do communicate with each other, and I can give you a good example. I did something in Australia. I sent an email to the professor, she did not reply me. I sent a reminder, she did not reply me. She was in the Faculty of Business. I sent an email to another professor in the Faculty of Environment. The guy replied me immediately. And I said, oh, but he cannot take the research that he needed somebody with management background. Guess what? He just suggested the woman that I sent the email to. And immediately he sent an email to the woman, copied me in the email. The woman responded within 3 minutes. This is the same woman I've been sending emails to that she did not respond. The woman responded within 3 minutes. So, like I said, they might be in different faculties. They are friends. I didn't tweet.
Okay. I like the way you're saying. Another question. Any information on studying MS in computer science in Canada for Indian students? By then you can let us know where you're watching us from. Comment and let us know where you're watching us from. And those who have questions, we only have less than 6 minutes. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Any information about students from India students?
Yeah, almost all the universities have a program in computer science. But like I said, which area of computer science? So there must be a particular area. And is it that the non-thesis based or the thesis based? For non-thesis based, the challenge is usually less, but they really fund non-thesis based. But for thesis based that requires funding, you need to start talking to professors in the field that you want, not just computer science. Is it software? Is it a particular aspect? No, I'm not a computer scientist, but like I use the example of accounting. Accounting is broad area. You have audit, you have public sector, you have assurance, you have reporting. Which area? Even within that area, which specific thing do you do? So you start communicating with the professors that are in that field. So let me use, I don't know computer science, let me just use the general example. I'm an hardware professor, and you are sending something on software. It doesn't work that way in academic. When somebody is a professor, is a specialist in a very narrow field, maybe like 2 or 3 interests. Then another thing you should always look at is the funding is coming from the department to the professor to be given to you. What is the departmental priority? Each department has its priority. Always check their research priority and find a way if you can align your research to their priority, or how you can justify why your research should be taken if it's not in part of their priority. Each university has research priority, so always look out for that.
Okay. I remember somebody has just asked about courses, and I remember that in Canada there are some courses that will not allow you to stay in Canada once you're done with your studies.
Oh.
Yeah, so do you want to emphasize on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's why I said always check the course content, what the course says. So if it's because in the rush we always do so many things, but I won't be able to give you anything offhand. But information is very key. Look at that particular course. And another thing you should look at is there's always a typical page on each course that we don't always bother to check, which is the destination. They call it graduate destination. What they will tell you what you can use the program for and the destination of the previous students is always a statistic a typical university in the US and Canada always have. Always check their destination. If their destination is not in that country, it means you won't stay. So they will tell you that we graduated 10 candidates, two of them are outside Canada now. What it means is for those who they might just be Canadian. Probably the remaining 8 are external people from other countries. You won't stay. Always check the destination of their previous candidate, the previous student, and what they can do with that particular course. And if you're unsure, send an email. Always send cultivate, like I said, cultivate the habit of communicating. Send an email to them. I want to do this. What is the status under the law? I think I asked somebody when I wanted to apply to one student, is it STEM, is it not STEM, and what is my status after the program? They will always be clear to tell you.
Okay, thank you. Another question that Pop asked, and I think you've also touched on it, like a lot of professors in Canada, normally when you send them emails so that they can be your advisors, a lot of them don't respond.
I can tell you that my success rate is over 99%. I can tell you for free.
99%.
See, I give you a very good example. If you send me that if you remove this email address and you put another email address, and it will still suffice. You've not written a personalized email. The email should speak specifically to that professor, what the professor is doing, how you like that research, how is it related to your own. If the same email can be sent to 2-3 professors without changing the content, you won't get a response. They know. I give you an example. You are telling me that I want to do research in accounting, and I'm a professor of assurance. You are telling me that I want to do research in accounting. I won't answer you because as an accounting, it has more than 13 broad areas. Within those 13 broad areas, you can still drill down. Which of them are you referring to when you are talking to me? So why do you think I can do your research? You have to point to my previous research. That is why you go and look at their publications. That is what I don't mean. You look at their publication, you reference that particular publication and make sure you read it. If you cannot read it, let it be clear that you cannot read it, but you like the topic, which you feel. So whatever you are saying, either the topic is related to your own topic, or you have read the research, it speaks to your own research. They will always give you response. Another one is the timing. You are in a time that somebody is under. Always calculate their own early morning. I always put that, you will resume by 9. So I always calculate to send it as at that particular time in my own country. It might be midnight in my country, it might be early morning, it might be night. But that way, your email will always be on top. They receive emails from so many candidates. And it must start from the subject of the email. Request for supervision, request for, just say, I'm just requesting for information. Information about what? Is it about admission? Is it about funding? Let it be clear for your subject what you are requesting for so that the person can know what he or she wants to answer or not.
Thank you so much. And we've had an amazing time. Next week, same time, Australia. We'll be talking about Australia. So please log in and all your questions will be answered today. We are making it shorter for obvious reasons. Kabiru needs to go to class and we don't have electricity, but we are hoping that you'll get more information as you go by. Thank you for those who are joining us from other platforms. Please send in your questions. We will answer them as we go by. But we want to restrict our time so that we don't use a lot of time on, going beyond our time. So thank you so much, and please reach out next week, same time. We're talking about study abroad. Our country of focus will be Australia. So hope we can get to know more, get to interact, share this opportunity with other people, because it is free webinar. It's going to be free, and we're going to engage with as many people as we can. Thank you so much. If you've not subscribed, please remember to subscribe. Comment, let us know where you're watching us from. Like these videos so that we get encouraged to do more of them. And just stay tuned. Thank you so much, and be blessed. You have a question? Okay, there's a last question for the YouTube guys. I would like my son to study masters in architecture. What's the process? So as Kabiru has mentioned, and also we are running a consultancy base where we can help you do the application, but we can also do free videos that we post and gives you direction on how to go about it. So let us know if you want us to help you on a one-on-one basis. But generally, for this question, I would like my son to study masters in architecture. What is the process? So first of all, you already know the course, which is good. Most people don't always know which course they want to study. So we normally, what we do as us, we organize a 30-minute strategy meeting with you, your son, and with that we have our colleagues who join in. You send us your transcript for your son. You send us information on he's already identified the universities he wants to study in. You send us that, and we'll also send you a registration form. So with that, the 3 documents will be able to analyze your son's performance against what he wants to study, because some people want to study architecture but their performance unfortunately does not reflect, and that means that they will not get admission. So we'll go through the transcripts, the performance, and the core course for architecture, and we'll give you a very credited information on how best way to go about it. We'll also give you information on which universities to explore, that will give you a better stand, will give you a better chance, and will also give you an opportunity to have scholarship for your son. As we mentioned, scholarships are very limited, but that does not mean that people don't get scholarship. We have some of the students we are working with who have gotten admission in Canada, and they've also gotten scholarship. We have lists of so many of them, and we hope to share as we go by. So that's the process. If you want us to help you, another thing is you can just go into the course, into the website of various universities, check their requirements, and as we have mentioned, if the most universities in Canada will require you to have an advisor. So reach out to the advisor, and especially in the field of the project your son wants to do, and reach out to the supervisor in good time. Customize the email to fit that professor, whatever the professor is doing, so that your son stands a chance of being selected by the supervisor. Then once you reach out and they've gotten back to you, normally advisors also help students do the application, because when you do your statement of purpose, you even mention that this professor has already agreed to work with me, so that gives you an upper chance for you to get selected. So that's how you go about it. And once you get, the big thing is to get an advisor. Once you get an advisor, the other things should be easier, because the university now sees this professor is interested in working with you, they're interested in doing the project, and they can now allocate funding, they can now allocate admissions, and most cases students with advisors get admitted into these particular universities. So that's what I can share with you. Thanks for asking this very valid question. It's very important that you get to know the processes are different from various universities, and they're different from various countries. So doing it in Kenya, doing it in USA is different from doing it in Canada, and doing it in UK and all that. That's why we are emphasizing a lot on these various universities. So I want to thank you so much, everyone who's joined us. Please remember to subscribe every time. 5 p.m. East African time, we'll be having different speakers, different engagements, and different people interacting with us. Thank you, and have a blessed time. Bye.